Hi, welcome to Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson, and my guest today is envisioning a green hospital. I wonder what that might be like. My guest is Margie Handley, who is a resident of Willits in Northern California, and the chair of, a businesswoman and a chair of the local foundation that's involved with the hospital. Tell us about the foundation and where do we go from here?
Okay, the Frank R. Howard Foundation owns the hospital.
The existing hospital.
The existing hospital, which is 78 years old. And we lease it to the Adventist system to run. But we are responsible for making sure our mission is to provide health care for the northern region, for Willits in the northern part of the county. And we can't meet the current seismic standards. You either have to retrofit your old hospital or build a new one. And we decided that it would make much more sense to build a new one. It would be more economical. So my mother actually donated 33 acres of land, and we are planning an entire healthcare campus. And because we wanted to be sort of on the cutting edge of, we wanted to do some things that were different, because Willits is just a great little community where we do different things around here. And we wanted to reflect the values of the people that were here.
Such as?
The green
sensibility sort of being
exactly.
green in terms of being cleaner energy or
cleaner energy efficient, and our town is just a very diverse population, and there are a lot of people that care a lot about the environment, and we just wanted to do what we believe is the right thing to do at this particular point in time. So it's going to cost $450,000, maybe more than that, to build a green hospital. So that's a consideration, but we think that it's worth raising the extra money to do it.
So you're saying to me that $450,000 is going to cost more than that to build your whole?
Oh yeah, $36 million to build the entire
So out of that $36 million that you have to raise for this, $450,000 is just to make it green?
That will be an extra additional cost.
Wow.
Because you have to use certain building materials. There's just a criteria that you have to meet. And we will be both LEED certified, which LEED is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And that's a system where you get a plaque to put on the wall and you're certified. And there's also the GGHC, which is the Green Guide for Healthcare.
Let's go back for a second to LEED. I would assume that for you to get that plaque on your wall, you've got to meet some standards or criteria. Can you give us an idea of what kinds of criteria they require for you to be able to qualify there?
You'll be conserving your natural resources, basically. You increase energy efficiency. You improve indoor air quality, water efficient landscaping, light pollution reduction. There's just a whole series of things, and I think there's something like out of 45 conditions you have to meet 25. I'm not absolutely positive of that, but you have a certain set of criteria, and then you have to meet at least half of those standards in order to be certified.
Are you at the process yet? We'll get to the green part in a second. Are you at the part of your design plan yet where you've begun to have your builders or your designers begin to know ahead what kinds of things those can be? We
are, and the design build team that is going to build our hospital is Marshall Erdman and Associates from Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow.
All they do are build hospitals and medical facilities, and they are very, very interested in, they'd like to build a green hospital, but they've never had a client that wanted to do it.
Has anybody done it, a green hospital?
There's one green hospital in Boulder, Colorado right now. So we're hoping that we will be the first rural green hospital in the nation, because I think that will draw attention to us, it will help us raise money, and it's exciting anyway. So
I mean, you're pioneering, you're breaking ground
we are, and I think that's the fun part, is when you can be a pioneer and do something that other people haven't done. But Marshall Erdman was so excited about it that they actually chipped in and did the advanced study that it took to decide, what we needed to do, and that was worth about $60,000. And they did that at their own expense because they wanted to do this. So we really are truly in a partnership to make this happen. And one of the things that we did is we invited some of the people from the local WELL group, and
which is the Willits Economic Localization Group, who are trying to move towards a more sustainable Willits.
Community, yes. And we invited people from the Environmental Center, and we have what we call the Green Team. And so we met and got some of their ideas and told them what we had planned to do and asked them to help us raise money for the extra additional cost.
To make it a green hospital.
Right,
Okay.
and so, so far we haven't raised a lot, but we're just sort of getting started on this, and we're getting ready to send out a letter. But I expect that there are people that really care about this enough that they will put their money where their mouth is and help us raise the extra money.
I should think that people in this community, you're doing kind of health in two ways. You're providing health care, you will be providing health care for human bodies, but you're also doing health care for your local environment
Yes.
and our broader environment.
Yes, and we really, in the campus concept that we have, it's going to also be a wellness center and a healing, we have what we are calling the healing knoll in our garden. And we're having an organic garden. That's another thing that's extremely exciting, and our garden committee is so excited about this. And we were able to get Kate Fry, who is an international gold medal winner for garden design, designed our garden at no cost to us.
Wow, what
And she has done the Fetzer garden down in Hopland.
the Fetzer
Yes,
winery.
which everyone
vineyards.
knows about. I mean, it's on the map. And so this garden design is absolutely beautiful. And it will provide organic food for the hospital.
Really?
Yes.
So it's not just
No.
a beautiful garden.
No.
You're talking about truly nurturing and healing people
Exactly.
without toxic foods.
Exactly.
How large a space is she
We're
planning?
going to devote about 3 acres.
Whoa!
And the interesting part about it is that there's a knoll on the property.
A knoll?
A knoll.
Okay.
And we can't build anything there because it's an earthquake. The earthquake fault goes right behind it.
Okay.
And the knoll is a push-up from earthquake activity many, many years ago.
No, we don't want to put a hospital
So,
there.
no, we don't. But the thing is, it's a perfect use of the land. So we're going to have this organic garden. There'll be trees. There'll be like fruit trees. There'll be berries. You know, all the things that the hospital uses in the course of their business. We also hope to provide at least a weekly meal for Meals on Wheels. They serve about 400 meals a week.
Wow.
And maybe Daily Bread, which is the local Feed the Hungry program. And so it's an exciting concept, and we have a very involved garden committee. The foundation said, okay, we want to do this, but we want to make sure that we don't devote this much land and then it becomes a weed patch.
Yes,
ultimately, because that
have
happens.
some kind of continuity here that
Exactly.
people that will continue to keep it up.
Exactly. So they're going to submit a business plan where they show that it actually can pay for itself down the line by selling they'll sell the food to the hospital.
Okay.
And, because the hospital buys food now.
That's right, and it's, boy, I mean, you're going to get the best deal on transportation costs of any hospital
Exactly,
in the area.
exactly.
I mean, walk it from here to there, yeah?
Exactly. And then another thing that's planned is a diabetes and wellness center, and it will be adjoining the garden, actually across the street from the hospital. And the Native American population has a very large diabetes problem. And we think that we can get a grant from the Native American community to build the building. They'll have a demonstration kitchen that will teach them how to grow the food, to prepare the food. They'll have classrooms, lectures, teach people how to eat properly.
So that's really about wellness. That's
It is
preventing
about
disease.
wellness, that's
because if
right.
people are moderating their sugar use, I'm sure is the
Exactly.
critical thing here for diabetes or for any other diseases. Learning about it and changing habits, that's not easy.
No, it isn't.
But so you're becoming an educational center then.
Exactly.
And demonstration.
Yes, and another exciting thing that's happened to us, this whole project has been so exciting because doors just keep opening for us. And I love working on things where doors open and don't close. And it's just happened that way. We have become the partner to University of California at Davis as their first model for rural to university healthcare.
What does that mean?
It means that instead of us putting someone in a helicopter and sending them to Davis for care that we can't provide, we have telemedicine where if we get it, actually it happened a few weeks ago, we had a pediatric patient and we do not have a pediatrician here. So the ER doctor was able to contact the pediatrician over in Davis through teleconnection and a camera, and the pediatrician looked at the baby, told the ER doctor what to do, and solved the
Oh,
problem.
I have goosebumps.
It is.
Oh, that is
It's
thrilling.
wonderful.
Because we're going to need to find those creative ways to not have to use
You don't have the
transport and
transportation.
fuel. Right.
That's exactly right. And Davis is very, very excited about this. 2 of our physicians are already on staff there. We will be running an intern program for orthopedics to begin with, but other physicians are applying. And so we'll be a teaching hospital as well as just a...
Which is an extraordinary thing for
It
a
is.
rural hospital.
It
It's
is.
usually the other way around.
We have some extremely talented orthopedic physicians here, and we have some neurosurgeons that are coming out of the Bay Area now operating. They're doing such things as cartilage transplants, which you never hear of in a little rural, town. So a lot is happening here, and we just think by tying into the green concept and the energy efficiency, and actually, if you build a green hospital, and I wished I knew the number, I don't know it right now, but it will save money down the line as far as your energy cost.
Of course. I mean, this makes sense. Right now, I would imagine, well, I wouldn't,
I think it's
don't
about
imagine.
30%, but I'm not
30% on your, I can believe that, on your energy costs.
One I read about, it was 30%. It was a 1 million square foot hospital, so I don't know, what a smaller one would be.
But a percent is a percent.
It is,
if you
that's
think
right.
about it. What are you planning in terms of your energy capability? Are you planning some solar or wind, or what kind of thing for your electricity?
I think that we're looking at biomass, we're looking at solar, I think we're looking at everything to
Everything
see what works
possible.
out. My sense of it is that solar wasn't going to be something they were going to do right off the bat because of, apparently it didn't work just too well, but it's something that we can do down the line because we could put solar panels in the parking lot. And it would act almost like a garage.
Yes, for your
cars.
cars.
And I think that will come ultimately, but right off the bat, it was not feasible according to our
Not for your first stage.
yes, right.
So if you were building it in a green way to have good insulation, probably.
Right, absolutely.
And so on, that's going to reduce your energy costs for
Right.
your heating and cooling and so
Right.
on.
And you position the hospital, well, we actually can't do that because we had to dig earthquake trenches because we are in the Loma Prieta earthquake, well, not the
Zone,
Loma Prieta, the
but-
Alquist Priola. Get
Okay, okay.
my acronyms mixed up here. But
The earthquake trenches.
yeah,
you
right, so
think.
we can't position, but in some cases where you can position a building so that the natural light comes in and you don't have to use artificial
Oh,
light.
yes, which is of course healthier for people.
absolutely.
Were you able to do that in some areas at all?
I think there's going to be a solarium or something that will
Nice.
tie into that.
Yes.
And certainly air quality. There are many things you can do to provide good air quality where if you do that, your employees don't get sick as often, like using toxic-free paint and adhesives,
Yes,
things like
yes,
that.
yes.
And it's proven that your staff stays healthier.
Healthier, and it's kind of
Right.
important to keep them healthy.
Exactly.
Because they're exposed
And
to,
you don't lose, yeah, that's right.
to disease in a much higher concentration than the rest of
Right,
us.
right.
So the green certification, or what is, I've lost the name, the green, program.
Let's see, the green one was
here you go.
the Green Guide to Health. I should know these off. Green Guide for Healthcare.
What is that?
That is like a self-certified program where you meet the criteria and you do it. You don't get a plaque on the wall, but actually it has some parts of the program that are a little better than LEED, and so we're going for both. And it has more, like down the line, you have to meet more criteria. You have to continue to do
So it's
things
not
that
just
stay-
about the structure?
Right, it's things that you do after you get the structure built. And so we're going to go for both, and we have registered to be in their pilot program.
oh really, this is new
Yes,
too?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, how many things do you want to pioneer at once?
Everything we can. Everything we can. No, I really truly believe you'll see Willits on the map because with the demise of the natural resource-based industry, I mean, we've been a logging community and fishing over on the coast. We've been that. That's all we've ever known, really, as far as an economic base. Well, that's changed, and it's no longer going to be. So we think that healthcare can be the driving economic force in Willits for many years to come. And, my hope would be ultimately to find some small businesses that tie in with healthcare. Like, say, the person that builds the hip parts, and joints, the hardware.
Okay.
Maybe we could get them to build factory here. I mean, I don't know whether we can or not,
I
but it's
see,
something that's
I
worth
see.
exploring.
So that what, if I hear you right, businesses who produce products or services that are for the healthcare world, so you won't be having to transport them from a distance, or you get to export them. It's one of your export
Right,
products.
and right now we take our laundry to Vallejo, which
What?
is, yeah, because they're the only ones that can do it. Well, maybe we can find a small business that can take care of the laundry.
And I would
But
imagine
there's a lot of-
that's got to be easier.
Well,
I mean,
but there's a lot of criteria that you have to meet, and this is one of the problems. You don't have enough volume here probably to
That's right. I
set
can
up
get
the
that.
laundry. But, maybe we can figure out a way to do that, because those are things we need to be thinking about.
Well, certainly, going back to some of the impetus behind this, for some folk, and part of the title of Peak Moment is about looking at the possibility, the likelihood that we are going to have a decline of our oil reserve, our oil supplies here, and need to learn to live in a more energy efficient future. And we mentioned that you've seen End of Suburbia, and you have a response to that. Still, using less just makes sense.
It does.
And having your local capability makes just sense, which means more local jobs.
And it's the right thing to do. I mean, we all believe, we have 5 members on our board, and all of us believe it's the right thing to do.
And would you have called yourself a green 20 years ago?
No, probably not 5 years ago. I mean, it's just,
So something has happened to shift your thinking a little in this way, or open it to a different direction?
maybe I just hadn't really given it a lot of thought because I didn't need to worry about it. But I think I read about the Well Group in the paper, and I read about what they were doing, and truly, I don't buy into the doom and gloom theory that it's all going to end in 5 years and it's going to be over and we're going to be in a catastrophe and we're going to be in the horse and buggy and back on bicycles. I just don't really subscribe to that,
Sure.
because as Americans, we always find a way. We just always do. And, we probably will have more energy efficient cars. I certainly hope so. I think solar cars someday will I know there is a company out there that already makes them. We had someone speak here not too long ago about that. And there's a lot of things happening, and I think we just need to encourage it. Because, yes, I think we're going to have higher prices. I'm sure we are. And in Europe right now, gas is $6 a gallon. People still drive, and there's still one person in their car. But they're driving
just
smaller
smaller
cars. They're
cars,
much smaller
right,
cars.
and more
They
efficient.
are. That's right. They
And
are.
certainly the incentives that Europe has, because they've signed on to the Kyoto Protocol to reduce their carbon emissions, has been one of those incentives to find the smaller cars and the more efficient and eventually
And I'm
electric cars.
sure that the big auto companies could do this. I'm sure they could if they had to. I mean, it's just, if they can go to the moon, they can build a more efficient car.
There, I like that. And if we can go to the moon, we can build more efficient hospitals.
Everything.
More efficient communities. Do you see this effect you're thinking about? Is there anything we haven't covered, I should add? Is there any other part of your vision for a green wellness center? I'm going to call it that.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
wellness
it is. Well, we're
center.
going to have walking trails. We're hoping, actually, out where the hospital is going to be, there's quite a few businesses along the corridor and factories that employ probably 100 people each, maybe. And we're going to have walking paths all through the garden, all around the campus, so you could actually go out and do a 1.2 mile
on your
walk or
lunch-
something on
lunch
your
break.
lunch hour. We're going to have a kitchen that will be open to the public, so if they want to walk over, have lunch, do their walk, and then go back to work, that's going to promote wellness, certainly.
Oh, goodness.
There'll be bicycle paths around, and it's going to be all linked so that it's a very walkable area out there. And that in itself is very healthy.
I would be wondering whether, I haven't thought about this yet, about electric or hybrid vehicles as part of the ambulance service or physicians. Is that in the picture
Probably not
anyway
the
yet?
ambulance service,
Or
but the rail, actually, there's a gentleman in town, you should talk to him, who's looking at a solar rail system.
Oh, interesting.
And his idea is to, because there's so many cars that go through town every day to pick up their kids at high school and then drive all the way back out of town. And in the morning when you're taking kids to school in the night when you're bringing them home. It's just a traffic jam in town. He wants to put a train so that the kids could get on the train and then come out and get off at the hospital, which would be perfect. And there's nothing to say that we can't build a little station out there. I mean, it doesn't even have to be anything fancy, just something out of the weather. And we've talked to him about that, and he has a whole plan that makes sense because of where the rail goes. It hits almost all of the population centers.
So is that on an existing rail
Yes,
that you have? So
it
you
is.
can use your existing
That is not
infrastructure?
being used now because it's just going to be so costly to ever get that rail running north of Willits that it may or may never happen. But it would certainly be a good use of the tracks
serve it within your
now.
community.
Yes.
You really do have an innovative community
We
here.
we do. And there are so many creative people in Willits. And there are just lots of ideas, and I just kind of see it as my job as being chairman of the board of the hospital to find out any idea that we think can work, that I should explore it and see if it's a possibility, because I have always believed that you need to think outside the box, which is probably a cliche, but you do need to do that. You need to be visionary and think ahead and try to anticipate what might be coming and then try to address it before it happens. At least be prepared.
That's wisdom, isn't
Well-
it really? So
well,
that we
or-
don't get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
With more difficulties if you're thinking ahead.
Exactly. And so I think there's a lot of creative minds in this community. Certainly there are. And I think that the other thing that the hospital has done that I've just been extremely pleased with is it's brought people together in an amazing way. You know, so many times you have a them against us mentality. In almost every community you have that. We actually don't have that as much as, I would say right now we don't have it hardly at all, because everybody's kind of working on the same page to try to make this the community we all know that it can be.
What do you attribute that to? Because that split between the us and them, what I do see is that a hospital is something that serves, is intended to serve everybody.
Right. And I
And
think
in a
that's
sense,
it.
can bring people together.
Everybody needs a hospital, so everyone has a stake in that. And so it's been my goal to keep everybody working on the same page moving forward and using every idea that we can so that everybody has a piece of it, because that's what makes something work.
There's two other ideas that come to me as I think about this with you. I realize that you are leasing the hospital facilities now to the Adventists who run the operations.
Yes,
I would
and they run a
imagine.
very good hospital.
Do you have any say or can contribute to some of how they may operate? I'm thinking of things like waste. Certainly the waste materials that happen, in a medical facilities are incredible. The packaging and so on.
Right.
Anything about that waste stream, is that part of any of the plans that you're working on or talking about yet?
Well, and I think that they're very cognizant of these things too. Kevin, who runs our hospital, is very, he reads the paper and comes to the meetings too, so he knows what's going on. And the Adventists run a good hospital. We've been pleased with their health care. They run, and I think that they truly want to. They
to
want
do
to
the best,
their
the
part
good thing too.
Yes.
That's because I think that's another opportunity in our whole culture.
Yeah.
We have so much.
That's right.
Waste
And if we
in the
go up and
landfill.
say, hey, you could do this or that, they'll do it many times.
That's wonderful.
It's just, we have a good open line of communication.
Well, what you're talking about is relationships.
Yes.
That you're really nurturing
You know,
some positive
That's
relationships.
almost all that it's ever about is communication. The them against us mentality is all a lack of communication, in my opinion.
Well, what you have found is common ground. You
Right.
could emphasize your differences, which is
Exactly.
often
And
what's
we have
happening.
some. I mean, like I say, I don't think I'm going to be riding a bicycle 10 years from now, but maybe I will. Who knows? but sure, we have differences.
But what you're emphasizing is what you care about together.
Exactly.
And then you can build on that and not emphasize
Right.
the differences.
Right.
Well, you're an inspiration for a lot of communities. I hope you put yourselves on the map. I mean, I will have our community look at
I think we
yours.
will be on the map, and I've been giving speeches all over. Whoever invites me, I go, because I think that we will be the model eventually on how to create something that really works in a community. And I think that all of these things collectively that are happening, I mean, everybody has a little, some are working on transportation, some are working on green mapping. We have a new green mapping committee to try to do an overlay of the infrastructure and where do we want the growth to be. And it's an interesting process. And our town was never planned properly probably from the beginning, but it's not too late to try to kind of salvage some of what's here.
Of course,
And
of course.
head it in the
And
right
keep
direction.
the quality of your
Right,
lives
right.
as wonderful as it is. I really am pleased to have your garden idea, your
Oh, it's gonna be
wellness
wonderful.
idea, because I think that healthcare in America tends to be after the fact, and the more that we can do to prevent it, in a sense, to not need our hospitals, will keep people's lives better, healthier, and in quality, the quality you want.
That's really what it's all about. If you don't have good health, you don't have much.
You sound like my grandmother who said, your good health is number one, and then you can do 2 and 3
Exactly.
and 4.
Exactly.
And there you are.
As you get older, you appreciate more and more about staying healthy and staying fit and exercise. Oh, that's the other thing. We're going to have a pool. We had a man donate the money to build a physical therapy pool.
Excellent.
And so people can go out and exercise and walk, swim, do all the things
Build
they
up
need to
the
do to
energy,
keep
yeah.
healthy.
Thank you for being my guest. I think it's wonderful to have the kind of inspiration that your community, your green hospital, you're filling the certificate, but thinking about health and wellness as well as aftercare. It's just a visionary thing. What a community. They're fortunate to have you.
Well, we're happy that, I'm happy to be here and to tell you what we're doing because we're real proud of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Join us again for our next edition of Peak Moment, Community Responses to a Changing Energy Future.